Oh, you can feel it in the air. The haze being baled. Drum lines piercing through your early morning routines. School zones. That can only mean one thing. College football's back! Woo! Now in the Big 12, it's all about offense. Just look at the team names. The Raiders attacking. Bears mauling. Cyclones destroying everything in their path and then looking like they never existed at all. That's why if you want to win, you need a little bit of defense. The Horned Frogs, well, they have a natural defense mechanism in their eyes. The Mountaineers, they've got rifles and they know the terrain. Same with the Cowboys up in Stillwater. Of course, there is a wild card in the Big 12, and that's the Longhorns. If you've ever seen one in the wild, you know they take a while to get going, but once they do, they bull through everything in their path. Will they get going this year? Probably not. And that's why it always seems to fall down to the Sooners. They got a little bit of the firepower. They set up camps in a perimeter so they know defense. But they also got there too soon. They're sneaky, and that's why they win. In the past 20 years, 5 teams have won the SEC. But in that same time span, those 5 teams have won 9 outright and 1 shared national championship. Now what that means is, anytime you hear a crowd chant, SEC, SEC, what it really means is, we're not part of that 5, but we'll gladly take all the praise that comes with the association with those 5, as well as the money that comes from them winning, because we won a home game against a mid-tier opponent from another Power 5 conference. Now, the reality is, in the SEC, until Nick Saban gets tired of winning, Crimson Tide are just going to keep doing it. It's not going to change this year, probably not going to change next year. Maybe Georgia, maybe an Auburn, LSU, or a Florida has a good year, but I wouldn't put money on it. Now the ACC does have a couple things going for them. They've got big TV markets in Boston, Atlanta, and Miami, and their name actually makes sense. They are on the Atlantic coast, especially teams like Pittsburgh, Louisville, and Syracuse. They also just recently won the college basketball tournament, and not even with the Tar Heels or Blue Devils. But in football, it's been a little bit boring recently. Since 2011, back when Virginia Tech used to be good, the only 2 teams that have won the conference are Clemson and Florida State. And in fact, Clemson has won it the past 4 years and only lost 2 conference games. And if you combine that with the fact that they still have sunshine, and in the past 4 years they've had top 20 recruiting classes every time, I just don't see them not winning. But last year Syracuse did have a nice resurgence, and Miami can always recruit South Florida. So I feel very confident in saying that the winner of the ACC will be a team that has orange in their colors. The Big 10, which has 14 teams, has historically been in the nation's Midwest and Rust Belt, which is why it makes perfect sense that Rutgers and Maryland are in the conference. But with that silliness aside, it's essentially been a 3-team conference since 2013. Before that, it was all about Wisconsin, a school with offensive linemen that did well in the pros and running backs that didn't, and a short little quarterback who transferred from a Carolina school and went on to win a Super Bowl with the Seahawks. But since 2013, 3 teams have won the conference. Ohio State 3 times, Michigan State twice, Penn State once. But even when Penn State and Michigan State win the conference, Ohio State still gets to go to the BCS or the tournament for reasons that are probably green. Now you probably noticed that the Michigan Wolverines are not on this list. I guess they couldn't overcome the red dawn of Ohio and Wisconsin. But this year I'd love to pick against Ohio State, and I will. I'm picking Michigan. Jim Harbaugh finally gets his conference championship. But Ohio State's still going to make the tournament. The Pac-12, man, it's a conference of sun and surf. And they're going to be represented perfectly by Washington and Utah. Now, it is a conference of quarterbacks, and Oregon has a good one, plus they got a little bit of green themselves, and I'm not talking about their jersey color. And you gotta watch out for Arizona State. They will beat somebody they're not supposed to and probably knock them out of the final championship tournament, but they will also lose to somebody they should have stomped. Now, when it all comes down to it, the Pacific Coast champion will be a team that is saltwater based. Just a landlocked one. In Utah, the Utes. They're gonna win it. And together with Oklahoma, Alabama, and Ohio State, Utah will prove that red is the dominant color in college football as opposed to blue in basketball. Except for when they all have to play Clemson and get beat by the Orange team. Now you can kind of feel bad for the lesser conferences and independents. Of course, Notre Dame and BYU do have a chance of making the tournament at the end of the year, but that's only if 2 of the major 5 conferences both have down years at the same time, while BYU or Notre Dame both pretty much go undefeated. Not that likely. But it is important to shout out teams like Central Florida, Houston, Boise State, San Diego State. Those teams have been really good the past few years, and the only really chance they have at making any kind of tournament is if they get incorporated into a bigger conference. But don't sleep on the North Texas Mean Green. They have one of the most exciting quarterbacks out there, and they have a really awesome jazz band. Now Utah is going to get snubbed because nobody on the selection committee is going to watch any of their games. And Georgia's going to do everything in their power to get in, but they're going to lose to Alabama, and Ohio State's going to have impressive victories that get them in the tournament, making it just about as boring as everybody already kind of predicts. Clemson sails right through Ohio State. Alabama beats Oklahoma by 2 touchdowns, setting up another magical championship game of Alabama and Clemson, which Clemson's going to win by 10. The Tigers are your next national champions. Alright everyone, I hope y'all had a lot of fun watching my prediction for the college football 2019 season. I'm looking forward to an exciting season with a lot of touchdowns and a lot of big hits. Comment down below who you think's going to win your favorite conference or the national championship. Follow me on Instagram at @B_Rowen. And if you like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that nice stuff, and I will see you in the next one. B-Row, out.